Next, we're going to take a look at Adobe Brush, which allows me to create brushes for Photoshop, Illustrator, and some of our mobile sketching applications using the camera or other input sources directly and quickly on my device. So we'll just launch Adobe Brush and the camera engages, and I'm in my home studio just here where I've been a little bit messy with some of these inks just here, and so I've got them blotted on this piece of paper. And what I'm going to do is, using the threshold slider that I'm now moving on the right hand side, you'll see how I can peel away some of the background in this image. You'll see that if I do that, it's kind of removing the white background and leaving me with this shape. I'm then going to hit the button on the right hand side just here, and that captures that, and then I can move this cropping grid. It's something I can adjust later on also, and also rotate the stuff inside the cropping grid to get the sort of tip shape that I'm after. Once I've done with that, I'll hit the tick on the right hand side and move into this mode where I choose the type of brush that I'd like to make. So you can see the last style I used was a Photoshop brush repeating, and there are other Photoshop brushes, and then brushes for Photoshop Sketch and Illustrator brushes also. So let's make a brush for Photoshop Sketch. So if I choose this type, you'll see that I could test it out on this scratch pad area. This is stretching that out like so. Kind of nice, but not what I'm actually after creating. So I'm going to tap Edit down in the bottom right hand corner, and then I've got these extra options along the bottom of the screen on the left hand side. So if I needed to revisit the crop, and you can see that the stroke's just redrawn itself up in the top just there, then I could do that. I can bring crop angles in like so, and this will actually repeat on the sides like that. And so these are the bits that will stretch in between. I can come into my refinement options, and this allows me to further refine the capture of the brush. So see, again, I can reintroduce the background there if I wanted to. If I wanted to manually add or remove, then I've got these brushes just here which allow me to paint in like so. So I've got plenty of options there for modeling the actual shape, and again, if I needed to, I could just tap on these and remove different parts. That's a nice interesting shape there. I like that. Then I've got this preset area. This is where we do the brush dynamics. So you can see I can change the size of the brush just here, and I can change the flow of the brush, so how basically opaque this is more or less. Then the way it's dealt with color, is it going to be an RGB brush or a black and white brush? If I tap to that, you'll see that the nature of the stroke changes. Let me just clear this using the top just there, and I'll set that back to color. And then how this repeats. At the moment, it's stretching along here. If I wanted to, I could actually have this mirroring. So what's happening now is, as I make a stroke, it's flipping the image over side to side. Or I could make a linear brush, in which case it's just repeated along there like so. Once again, I'll tap at the top of the screen to clear that. I can also determine how it responds to pressure sensitive devices, so I can set its size and flow there, so that's how responsive it is to that. And then how it responds to velocity, so if the size is affected by velocity, so I'll make that quite responsive to velocity, and also the flow. Right, so if I work slowly, like so, you see I get a nice, even, consistent thing there. If I work quickly, it changes the way that works. There's lots of different dynamics at work just there. And then I can introduce texture into the brush also, so a little bit of noise there just to jazz that up a bit, and also some anti-aliasing just to smooth that off. And these are all things that would take much longer in Photoshop, but here they're very, very quick, and also a lot of fun to do. If I just tap save, all I need to do now is to give this a name. So if I just call this one demo brush like so, and then save that, that gets saved into a library. You can see I've got several libraries here, and if anybody was collaborating with me on this library, then they would have access to this brush at the same time. If I want to, I can also duplicate it and create a different version of the brush. If I just put this into the same library just here, and then I can edit that from there. So if I tap the little edit thing, And I could maybe change the style of this one, or maybe make a different kind of brush, like a Photoshop repeating brush or some other kind of stretch brush. All very, very easy to do. And you see, all I need to do there is just rename that one like so. And so now I've got 2 brushes in that library inside of just a few minutes.